Have you ever wondered, if God knows everything, how can we have free will? If God knows everything that we're going to do, are we just like following some kind of script? Is the future already determined? So to answer this question, we're looking at the curious case of Marty McFly. But before we jump into it, would you do me a favour and let me know if you agree that Back to the Future is in fact the greatest movie of all time by commenting, "Great Scott!"
Great Scott!
If you disagree, commenting,
"Oh, this is heavy."
Is that a bit lame? That's a bit lame. In the movie Back to the Future, Marty McFly travels back in time from 1985 to 1955, and one of the first things that he does is accidentally change the timeline that he comes from. He does this by saving the life of George McFly, who just happens to be his father, albeit in teenage form. His teenage dad fell out of a tree into the middle of the road and was about to get run over by a car. Marty pushes him out of the way and gets hit himself. In Marty's reality, it was his dad who got hit by the car. He took him inside to the house, and his daughter, Lorraine, felt sorry for George, invited him to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, and at that dance they kissed for the first time and they realised that they was going to be together forever. Several years later they get married and Marty's born. By pushing George out of the way of the vehicle, he doesn't get hit, Lorraine doesn't feel sorry for him, and she actually falls in love with Marty, which is actually, now I look back on it, pretty creepy. So for the rest of the movie, Marty's trying to orchestrate events so that his mum and dad can get back together for the first time, otherwise he'll never be born. So during the movie, all the people from 1955 are walking around making decisions based upon their own free will. However, Marty knows exactly what is going to happen because he's already seen it, having come back from the future. The fact that Marty knows exactly what these people are going to choose doesn't mean that they didn't choose to do it or that they didn't have free will. So how does this relate to God's omniscience? Like Marty, God sees the entire timeline. Think about Isaiah 46 verses 9 to 10. Remember the former things of old, for I am God and there is no other. I am God and there is no one like me, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times things not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will accomplish my purpose. And similarly, in the movie, Marty has a specific outcome that he wants to bring about, i.e. he wants to avoid disappearing by getting his parents back together. And so what he does is he makes changes within the timeline to push his parents together. He turns up in his dad's bedroom dressed up in a radiation suit and plays Van Halen to him, convincing him that if he doesn't ask Lorraine to the ball, he will melt his brains with heavy metal.
My name is Darth Vader. I am an extraterrestrial from the planet Vulcan.
He also tries to make George look brave by setting himself up as being a loutish oaf, trying to take advantage of Lorraine in the car, where George can come and punch him out and be the hero. He takes actions based on his external knowledge of what's going to happen and guides them through to his ultimate purposes. And all the way through, George and Lorraine are looking at the reality presented to them and making decisions based upon their own free will. And I think this is pretty similar to the way that God acts in our life. We know that he knows the end from the beginning and he knows where he wants to get to. He wants to place people in certain positions and he knows pretty much how they're going to react in various different situations. I think the thing that we get confuddled with really when we think about free will and stuff is that we're always thinking about it from our own personal point of view. I think the question of free will really comes down to at what level of magnification that you're really looking at. People individually are making individual free will choices based upon the stimuli or whatever that's in front of them every single day. And it's really difficult to predict what an individual person is going to do based upon multiple different factors. God is going to be better than anybody to predict what a specific person is going to do in any specific situation because he knows everybody intimately, probably better than they know themselves. Definitely better than they know themselves. However, that said, the individual person will make choices that can surprise people from time to time. However, when you look at society and higher level stuff, People are incredibly predictable, and you know, if you want to change stuff on a societal basis, that is going to be a lot easier to do and to predict. Yeah. So basically, I don't see there being any contradiction between God having omniscience and humans having free will, because humans are still making their decisions. It's just God exists outside of time and can see the end from the beginning and knows exactly what decisions we're going to make. Knowing what decisions we're going to make and then changing things accordingly to accomplish his sovereign will overall doesn't mean that on the micro level, on the individual human level, that those individual humans weren't making their own free choices. They made their own free choices. However, God just knew what those choices were going to be because he sits outside of time. That was a really difficult one to film, I'm not going to lie. This actually took me about 50 minutes to film. I probably chopped it down to less than 7. There was a lot of takes and retakes. Well, I hope I didn't melt your brain today, and if you've had a good time, please do hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you like, and maybe come back next time when I'll talk about something a little less mind-bending. Until next time, I'll see you later. Goodbye.